back now, coming into it from behind. We are now here with the first of our semifinalists here today for ESL Open Cup Asia division. We're back at it.
We are back at it. Just had a bit of a break in between series, but now the brakes are off. There is no stopping this train as we're getting to the semifinals and the finals from here as well. We have a juicy, a spicy ZvT ready for you.
Spicy Italiano.
Like Nutella pizza.
As we load on in and jump right on into this over here. In the bottom right-hand corner of the map, so I want to go all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea, representing CranKy Z Gaming, and also apparently the Gosu crew. I always forget that Dark just never left his in-game clan. Even though he hasn't been in it for like 3 years. We have Dark.
What you just said just shows how the passage of time has been ruined for us. It's been like 7 years. It's been like it's
been like 40 years.
It's been a long time, Bobby. It's been a long time. And here we have his opponent in the top left-hand corner. We have the teamless Terran player, the red Terran. He just took down Ragnarok 2-0, going for the Beyond opener, going for the 2 racks. It is Cure.
Who is immemorial. Time goes on, but Cure is still doing multiple racks openings.
There you go. There you go. And you know, I don't want to ignore the fact that you just joined us. So Yaku, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for joining.
All along.
Why are you lying?
I was here all along.
Like
you know, chat. If you didn't hear me this entire time, then you know maybe you might want to work on your hearing. I don't know what you're talking
about. That's a you problem, okay? If you didn't hear me, then clearly something is wrong, and you should be concerned. You should should go to the doctor.
Talk to your doctor immediately. But if your doctor says there's nothing wrong with you, he's gaslighting. They're gaslighting.
He's a part of the Zerg cabal if he's telling you that that you can't hear Terran players because, or that you can hear them, but you really can't. They're silencing you.
Exactly. You know, we don't need any more kebabs or cabals running things.
We could do it with some more kebabs. We could do it with that.
Yeah. Good kebabs.
Have you had some bad? What are kebabs like in oven? Before we get too ahead of ourselves, we do have again the double. We have the Beyond opener here, so being quite aggressive with these Reapers. We're not quite finding any damage yet. For those wondering what this is, 2 racks on the low ground, 3 Reapers in total, designed to give you map control. Designed to give you map control, designed to trade here with the army while you transition behind this.
Yeah, these 3. This is a build that's really predicated on your ability to control, your ability to micro, and most importantly, keep these Reapers alive. You don't actually need to do that much damage with them. You just need to keep your Zerg opponent back while you transition back at home, and transition into more of a typically more of a 2-on-1 type of build, but Cure this time is opting for that 3cc variant.
Yeah, so very economic variation here out of Cure, almost overextending, almost gets a queen, almost loses a Reaper as well, but link speed has kicked in, and Cure has to be very careful. Looks like he should lose at least one of these Reapers.
Not if KD8 Charge has anything to say about that, but it turns out it didn't. So that Reaper will go down. Cure should be losing all of his Reapers here if Dark commits to taking them out. This will mean that he loses map control, but these Reapers have kind of already done their job. They've allowed Cure to transition into this 3cc setup. Interestingly enough, he's actually going for a 3 racks 3cc variant and not a 3cc before Starport like I thought he was going for.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not even a 3cc 2-on-1, right? Which is typically what we would be seeing here. Meanwhile, the Lings, they go for a counterattack. They do deny Stim.
It's a very huge risk getting your tech lab on the barracks like that. Cure was hoping that he could just get Stim quick enough that you know, it wouldn't matter in the end, but alas, 'twas not to be. He actually cancels Combat Shield on his other tech lab to restart Stim. Dark is in a pretty fantastic position now.
He really is. I mean, Dark, he was on the back foot earlier on. You know, he was being contained by those Reapers, but after shutting down the Reapers, he denies Stim. Without Stim, that is going to delay the push. I say that. Cure is moving out anyway. I think he recognizes that, again, like, he can't just stay back and do nothing. Even without Stim, he has to find some damage with this army, so he's hunting for Overlords at least. We'll see if he commits onto Creep.
These are literally the weakest Marines you can get right now. They have zero support from any other unit, whether it be a medevac or a Widowmine or anything like that. They have zero upgrades on them. But as a wise man once said, apes together strong. And when you have a bunch of Marines bunched up like this, they can do a lot of DPS.
They really can, and Dark has to respect that. He backs off. He almost loses some queens, but he's able to keep them alive, and Cure is going to back off, live to fight another day as he gets into the rest of his setup. Again, important to emphasize as well that this 3-racks variation is very unorthodox out of Cure. It does mean that he has more Marines to work with, but it means that his medevac drop is very delayed. His starport is very delayed, so it's going to take him a while to really be active on the map.
Just something really quirky about Cure, that he does like to go for these big risk 3-racks type of builds, right? I still remember back in the day when Cure did nothing but 3-racks against... I don't remember if it was in every matchup or if it was just in TVP, but I don't think we've ever casted a game where he won with that build.
I like how that's where the story concluded. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Cure, he was very fond of the 3-racks for, I think that was in 2020, maybe 2021. In TVP, yeah, around that time, the beginnings of COVID. But here we go. We have a massive push here from Cure. As a reminder, there are no medevacs with this, and every Storm does hurt him. Every Stim hurts him as, oh my god, he's gonna get surrounded.
Yeah, every Stim hurts him, but what's gonna hurt him a hell of a lot more are these Banelings. Decent target firing is coming out from Cure, but at this point, yeah, even taking just one Baneling to the face will allow the Lings of Dark to just clean everything else up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the power of a 3-racks, but also the weakness is that you're able to be out of the map with an abundance of Marines, but without medevac support, there was no way out. It was a one-way trip for that bio army. He gets no economic damage done, and Dark is free to expand. He's free to kind of take a breather from here. Sure, Cure is about to be active with his drop play, but he has less Marines than he otherwise would have had.
Yeah, meaning that this push is even less effective than otherwise, but at the same time, how effective do you need your initial 2 drops to be? As long as you keep them alive, that is.
Yeah, but again, because this was delayed, because the first push was cleaned up, it means that Dark has so much freedom. He's spreading creep all over the map. We do have a couple of Widowmines in the mix, though, so Dark is going to have to respect that. He has to be very careful. Banelings connect! Oh my god.
Yeah, a little bit reckless here from Cure. It seems like his attention was elsewhere.
Does seem to be the case, as we even see the drop being pushed back. The Widowmines are cleaned up, and Dark, he is now on 4 bases. So, I mean, he's double expanding, getting his 4th and 5th at the same time. He's working on 2-2. He's got a Hydrogen done, an Infestation bit. Hive is on the way. You can see just how much Dark has been teching throughout all of this defense.
Yeah, he knew that after pushing back the initial wave of Marines, he knew that Cure would not be able to consolidate the rest of his forces in time, and so he's just been chilling and teching up, like you said. Now he has Hydralisk here, which will mean that these medevacs won't quite be able to retreat as effectively as they used to.
Yeah, it's a really interesting choice here to rush into the Hydras. It's typically a really risky thing to do, but as you mentioned, it does mean you have some anti-air earlier on. Meanwhile, the mine shots are looking to go off. Good split here. Once, I don't know if you noticed, but every single time Dark has been engaging recently with these Widowmines, like, he has such meticulous splits here with his Lings, with his Banelings.
Yeah, every time it starts, it looks like he's running his entire army into the Widowmines, but then he's able to split off that one Ling that one Ling that has been targeted by the Widowmine.
It's been very impressive to see, and as a result, Cure, he hasn't had those juicy connections, but maybe that's going to change here.
Well, we'll see how juicy this connection ends up being, if it ends up even backfiring a little bit.
That's what I'm talking
Not
about.
the worst connection in the world, but not a terrible one either. Yeah, two Banelings were down.
Exactly. Once again, it was 2 Banelings that were pulled away from the army. Oh, he's not looking!
He wasn't looking because he was focused a lot more on his army towards the north. A lot of Lings are going to be surrounding this army, and the Widow Mines will connect with the medevacs, but thankfully most of the bio was picked up in time.
Yeah, the bio was saved from the mines. Not so much the medevacs as they take a lot of hits. Meanwhile, at the same time, we have a Doom Drop. 4 medevacs full of units here heading towards the main base of Dark. He doesn't have anything in position. He has a couple of spores to deter his opponents, but his main is looking a little bit exposed.
Yeah, a couple of queens do sneak by as Dark caught a glimpse of something red moving on the minimap there. Still not enough to really deter this. One medevac that was about half full does go down, so that will definitely help his defense. But he's going to be losing quite a bit of tech.
Yeah, spawning pool goes down. It looks like the drop is going to get cleaned up for the most part. We even yoink a full medevac as well. Very nicely done by Dark. But without that spawning pool, no more Lings can be produced. Dark is in a lot of trouble here if Kira is able to keep the pressure up as he's pushing in towards that right-hand side as he has another army.
Yeah, ordinarily I'd say who needs Lings when you have Lunkers, but Dark actually didn't go for the Lurker Den yet. It was an interesting choice here. He got the Hydra Den and then just kind of stopped teching from there.
Yeah, so just Lingbane Hydra from Dark. No Lunkers are available. That was also not an efficient trade from Dark either. I don't know if you saw, but he got a full surround on the bio army, but a surround only with Lings. So every single Ling died, wasn't able to just punch through the armor of that army, and Cure is not letting up. And you can see the supply is now in favor of Cure as a result.
Yeah, for the first time in a very long time in this game, Dark still needs a little bit of time to gather his forces. Spawning pool just finished up, so he is making a mass amount of Lings. But Cure's not looking to give him enough time to consolidate those forces or to morph them into Banelings.
Yeah, exactly. So we did see one good Widowmine shot. Finally, maybe even the best shot so far in this game. Cure gaining ground here towards the south. He's pushing up the ramp into this army as well. At the same time, he has another force getting ready towards the north.
He's looking to draw this army of Dark back, keep it very, very distracted. He's got to stop reinforcing this army for the time being.
Yeah, exactly. This army is getting a little bit overstinned, but for the most part, Cure doing a great job at kiting against Dark. At the same time, he's pushing on forward here. The Vipers are looking a bit exposed, so Dark has to be very careful with how he engages.
I like that move. Dark was trying to bait the bio into moving into him with those Vipers, but it didn't really work out for him. Those are some uncharacteristically sloppy splits coming out there from Dark.
Yeah, some better mine connections as the game goes on, but the Hydras, they do arrive. We have some good parasitic bombs on these medevacs with the splits.
Yeah, really nice drag as well, getting that Widow Mine connection onto the bio army itself.
Yeah, exactly, and with that, Cure is forced back, but again, he's just unrelenting with his pushes. He just keeps reinforcing, keeps pushing, he's just not allowing Dark to breathe.
Yeah, and he knows he has to at this point. Cure only now establishes a 4th base. He's only now floating his 5th base into location. He has known just how much richer Dark was throughout this entire game, so... and he hasn't really been able to out-macro him, so he knows that the best thing that he can really do at this position is to force Dark to waste this money.
Yeah, exactly, and this is getting a bit out of hand. We have the drop into the main base, which is going to get cleaned up. We have the token swarm host coming in, but at the same time, a base does fall. Cure is gaining ground slowly, but surely he's just been chipping away at the defenses of Dark, and this is starting to snowball out of control.
It really, really is. For the first time in a very long time in this game, the income mining is actually about even. Slightly in favor of Cure, actually.
Yeah, but now things are about to change because you were talking about it earlier. You were maybe criticizing Dark for not taking up, but there it is. The Lunkers have arrived. We even have that Locust Wave coming in just to, you know, be a part of the game, be a part of the fight. But with the arrival of these Lunkers, the pressure of Cure should be alleviated as Dark is looking to push in.
Yeah, now Cure is a player who has a much less sophisticated army. He's getting a lot of goes, so I do appreciate that Cure was thinking ahead a little bit earlier on, but it'll take a while before they can really get into the fight. It'll take a while before they can really be effective against these lurkers.
Yeah, he had a Ghost Academy, but as you mentioned, he didn't start Ghost production until he saw the lurkers. So they're still a ways off. It's going to take a while for them to really kind of get up in terms of those numbers. Power bombs are going to be getting a lot of damage done as well. These medevacs are getting so low. But Dark, he is buying time. He's forcing his opponent to back off as he goes even for a Nidus into the main.
Because why the hell not? You know, might as well just try to draw Cure's attention back home. All of these ghosts that were originally routed to the front lines were forced to reinforce back there by the Nidus Worm.
Yeah, exactly. They're forced to stay back at home. We do see another Doom Drop head towards the main base here of Dark. The lurkers are exposed!
Very exposed. Why can't more of my engagements be like that? A lot of them will go down, and some juicy Widowmine shots will connect with the vast majority of those Banelings. It looks like Dark, regardless, has enough army to chase his pushback. Yeah,
at the same time, that triple jump did get into the main base here. Looks like some of the medevacs did go down to the Spore Crawlers, and it looks like Dark should be able to clean this up. Not without losing a couple of Queens, not without losing a couple of drones, but Dark does deal with the main army, and you can see Cure plummet in supply. That fight towards the center of the map did not go his way at all, and he needs time to recover.
Yeah, it looked like it was at the start of it, but then it very quickly kind of collapsed under him. That's a lot of ghosts that Cure has, arguably too many.
Yeah, he does have more ghosts than there are lurkers currently on the field, but again, Cure, he just needs to buy some time. The aggression of Cure for the most part has ended. He's moving out with a small drop, but we have a Nidus coming in.
The wall was not a wall. Thankfully for Cure, he did have reinforcements to chase the Lings and the Banelings back a little bit, but now that the lurkers have established themselves, yeah, there's really nowhere for Cure to run.
Yeah, exactly. We can see Cure coming in from behind. He's trying to get on top of these lurkers as well. Meanwhile, we do have a Nidus here towards the south. A massive link counterattack is headed towards the fresh mining bases of Cure. And there's no planetary.
No planetary at all. Cure knew that he needed scans, which is why he got this many orbital commands. But now we kind of see the downside. Now that Cure doesn't have that map control, his mineral lines are so vulnerable.
I just realized how greedy Cure was. He didn't get a single planetary. Every single base is an orbital, and because of that, these link counterattacks, there's nothing to stop them. They're just getting out of control.
Absolutely insane right now. Cure has finally lost the map control. He is finally the defender in this game, as opposed to Dark being the aggressor.
Exactly, and we can see that he just doesn't have as strong as the defender's advantage as he usually should. What he's doing is illegal. It's typically not legal to go for pure orbitals like this, and we can see why, because these link counterattacks can do so much more damage. I mean, Cure is holding on, don't get me wrong, but we can see Dark has remaxed.
Yeah, Cure, I think, is in the one position where I can kind of understand why he's prioritizing all these orbital commands. You know, he was behind economically for so long, so he wants mules. He knows that Dark has lurkers, so he wants scans. But like you said, you're sacrificing so much here in your defense that this... we're seeing why it's not something that Terran players typically do.
Yeah, well, it also coincides with how the playstyle that Cure was going for. Up until a couple of moments ago, the Vipers overextended, they're gonna get sniped. But until a couple of moments ago, Cure was hyper-aggressive, and Dark, he was stuck at home for, like, 90% of this game. Only just recently has Dark been able to counterattack, and we've seen how successful he's been with them just because of how little Cure has had. Meanwhile, once again, though, Cure is forcing Dark on the back foot back home.
Yeah, these huge counterattacks from Cure are forcing Dark to think a little conservatively, think a little defensively, but 2 can play at that game, and there's no planetary fortress here to take out that one lurker.
Yeah, forces a scan, forces the ghost. We do see no mining here on the left-hand side either. These orbitals are so low, and at the same time, Dark is going to collapse on that third base. Dives on the army, looking for a kill on that orbital, and the Banelings, they're just zoning out everything else.
Yeah, Cure was quick to react, but pretty soon he's going to run out of space to kite back to and really split his army in. Nidus is about to pop! Cure does not have enough forces in position to really prevent that from going up. Does have a couple of SCVs, though.
Yeah, the SCVs, they put in a lot of work. One lurker going ham in the middle line. That was a kill, by the way, on that third CC as well. You can see that Cure is being pulled apart right now. Nidus into the natural. That lurker still going ham, getting so much damage done.
that one lurker has something like 30 kills on it
It was
before
crazy.
it died.
It was insane, as again there's just no way to stop the wave of Zerg. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1.
Whew. In typical Dark fashion. Very quirky play that we saw from Cure here, not just in the openings, but also in his decision later down the line to just get nothing but orbital commands. I will say that if Cure won that game, I would be calling him a genius. I would say this makes so much sense, but he lost, so...
I mean, as we were kind of noticing...
Makes 0 sense.
As we were noticing, like, there was reason for it, right? Just because of how aggressive Cure was, and I think against any other Zerg player, any lesser player, they wouldn't have had the breathing room to actually counterattack. They wouldn't have had as many good engagements and good splits against the Widowmines. I'm sure Cure would typically break his opponent, but Dark was able to hold on. Dark was able to bounce back in the end, and yeah, that was a really aggressive and a really wild game. It was beautiful.
Insane. GG. Nah, still back and forth.
That playstyle...
Well, I say back and forth, but I don't think I was ever convinced that Dark wasn't in control.
Yeah, there was a moment where...
Even when he was getting pushed back.
Yeah, like, obviously Cure had map control, but he never did any critical economic damage, right? Like, he was denying creep, and there was that moment where he killed a spawning pool, yes, but he was never really killing too many workers. He was never really just snowballing too much out of control, so... Yeah, solid series, a solid game.
Indeed.
As we're getting ready for game number 2. Also, this playstyle from Cure really reminds me of Classic. I don't know if you've seen much of Classic in PvZ, but he's very similar in a sense that he's very gateway heavy, very aggressive.
Yep, almost a swarm toss style.
Yeah, and on top of that, he often gets punished for this, and we do notice it, but he doesn't have shield batteries or cannons at his fringe bases. Like he avoids shield batteries and cannons. He's just hyper aggressive, just in the face of the Zerg player. And if at any moment there's a counterattack, or if at any moment Classic doesn't gain momentum, then he's in a lot of trouble. Like, he's in a lot of trouble, like protecting his 4th or protecting his 3rd.
Yeah, very risk reward heavy style, which doesn't always work, but man, when it works.
Oh yeah.
As we work, question mark, to get into Neo-Humanity, we are here now in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have our blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea, up 1-0 in this best of 3 semifinales. He is, of course, going to be representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming, DKG. He is Dark.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing himself, going for the low ground 2x opener, the Beyond opener once again. It is Cure.
I miss the kebab salesman.
The salesman?
Traveling, yeah.
Oh, did you have it like a roaming kebab salesman in Singapore?
There are several of them, actually.
Oh.
But there was one in my neighborhood like a few months ago.
Ah.
It was beautiful. and now they've traveled, and now they've moved on.
No. They've gone to greener pastures.
Gone to another neighborhood that's like 15 minutes away.
You're like, it was beautiful. I would wake up in the morning, I would hear the little bell of the cart turning the corner. I would smile, and then I would head down.
I would hear the heavy Egyptian accent and swearing.
It was music to my ears.
And I would smell the meat.
And now you know how to
in through my aircon.
Now you know how to swear in Egyptian.
Yeah.
But a couple of things have already happened this game. I don't know if you noticed, but Dark is going for something he only does on Neo-Humanity, or he's done it on other maps, but typically does on Neo-Humanity, and that is a very greedy style here. The Reaper rocks up, and what I mean by that, no gases. A gasless opener.
Yep.
Very fast third base was taken here from Dark.
So greedy, in fact, that Dark hasn't even opened up the path to mine from that third base just yet. I don't really like that here from Dark, though. It kind of keeps... It doesn't look too out of the ordinary, right? If you're Cure right now, he hasn't gone into the main base, he hasn't scouted the fact that Dark is lacking in gases, so... Yeah, Cure really doesn't have any reason to suspect that Dark is going for a hyper greedy build like this.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why Dark does this on Neo Humanity is because of the defensive nature of Neo Humanity. There are these very narrow choke points, and as a result, you can defend with pure Queen. Even Hellions have a hard time like diving in and getting into a mineral line. So yeah, you can afford to cut corners and delay link speed for a little bit longer on Neo Humanity.
Yeah, I think Cure is finally wise to this though, as he scouts the spawning pool, not researching anything at this point. Despite the fact that he's a slow link, so he is gonna go around and check, and he is gonna kick himself once he realizes what has transpired.
Well, this Queen is a little bit isolated though. It can't really be supported. There's not any for transfusion, and the Queen is gonna go down.
Bellissima. That's it, Cure 1.
A really good pickup for a Queen to go down this early on. Very nice pickup here from Kira back at home. He is going this time not for a 3 racks variation. It is a 3cc 2-on-1 follow-up, so a little more standard, a little more economic here out of Cure.
Yeah, I was hoping that CV would throw down the barracks just to throw us off even further, but no, it is a nice and standard 3cc 2-on-1 coming out from Cure. But he, is actually prioritizing a couple of Hellions before swapping the add-ons.
Yeah, so he's going to have Hellions in addition to this army. I'm curious to see what he does with the starports, and if he goes for like a Viking first or something. As interesting, Dark is skipping link speed. He's skipping it entirely and going straight into roaches.
You know what? Dark, he's a roach boy, but this seems too roachy even for him.
Yeah, very committed roach play. As you mentioned, this is kind of the spirit animal, the spirit unit here of Dark. The roach is very fond of it, and it can work really well. It can be a really defensive tool. It can also be a really aggressive tool if we hit these like 1-1 or 2-2 timings.
Yeah, we'll see if we get to that, as Dark is going for a relatively early lair behind all of this, so it looks like he is going to be rushing into Galal Reconstitution as quickly as possible.
Oh yeah, working on that roach speed. There we go, Evo Chambers are on the way. The Hellions are going to be harassing, and again, we can see that even without link speed, or even without links, they just have a really hard time pushing past the wall of queens, and again, that's a lot of queens, and you can rotate quite quickly here between the third base and the natural. Taking a fourth is going to be a little bit more difficult, but again, Dark is just more concerned with establishing his 3 bases.
Yeah, and he has his mobile defense force in these queens, and now with these roaches, no armory from Cure, so these are just going to be Hellions and not Hellbats. Which can be a little bit tricky when you're up against roaches, but with enough stimp marines and with good enough target fire, these roaches shouldn't pose too much of a threat to his army. Yeah,
2 roaches go down already. The Evo Chambers are exposed, by the way, and these marines are going to be able to focus at least one of them down.
Yeah, Dark thinking a little too ahead of himself, I think. He was trying to get a bit of a wall to prevent Hellions from getting into his mineral line. Little did he know that was actually a marine follow-up from here.
Yeah, exactly. So a very efficient trade here from Cure. He is being forced back by the mass amount of roaches, but denying one of those upgrades is already just a great start here for Cure. A great way to just gain a bit of momentum, gain some control in this game while he establishes his own third.
Yeah, now tank production is on the way. In fact, a tank is going to be joining this army pretty soon. Cure now splitting his army to harass at 2 locations at once. Cure is looking much more in control at this phase of the game compared to where he was at this point in game number 1.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm sure that's going to change once 1-1 kicks in. We can see that Dark, he has saturated 3 bases. He's droned up to around 66, and he's making a massive amount of roaches as well. But okay, he's not going all in. He's actually still making more workers. It looks like he does want to saturate the center base. He wants to take control of that center gas geyser.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you cut workers to survive, as opposed to cutting workers to go for any big timings or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. As we do see the army of Dark looking to collapse on the forces of Cure. The Biles will force it back. The tanks are looking a little bit more exposed, and they will go down.
Just like so. Cure trading decently well, but not doing anywhere near enough damage to keep his momentum going.
Yeah, exactly. And he has to be really careful about how he does retain his tank count. If he loses too many tanks, that will make him vulnerable here to a big Roach counterattack. Again, the rush distance by ground on near humanity is very short, and you do have to respect the Roach army here of Dark.
As Cure is kind of doing right now. I mean, he's poking and prodding along. It's making sure that Dark is kept on his own side of the map, but yeah, there's really... I was gonna say there's nothing stopping Dark from droning up right now, but that's mostly because he's up to 70 drones at this point. He is fine with cutting worker production for the time being.
Yeah, especially with the rich versing gas geyser, I think he's done droning. We can see 5 overlords on the way. Dark a little bit supply block, but I think he intends to max out on Roach Ravager. 1-1 is done. 2-2 is a little bit mistimed because we saw the Evo Chamber sniped earlier, but Dark still is about to max out. He has maxed out on Roach Ravager.
Finally, he is getting link speed.
True.
At 9-minute link speed timing, you love to see it.
Yeah, it's on the way. I'm sure it may help as well, but Dark, he is max. He's sending everything across the map. Cure, what kind of defensive position does he have? He has 3 tanks here at his third base, but we have the surround coming in.
Yeah, his bio isn't quite in a position to defend all of his tanks at once. One of them goes down immediately to Biles, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the Biles, they took down 2 of those tanks. The third tank goes down. Every tank has fallen. The Bio army is across the map, or at least some Marines are across the map, and it looks like Dark, he's breaking into that mineral line. He's getting economic damage done.
Yeah, Marauders are doing whatever they can, but Cure was forced to pull an entire mineral line to deal with this, and Dark's aggression doesn't look to be stopping anytime soon. One tank is now out, but there's really no good position to siege that tank up here by the third base location.
Exactly, and Dark, he just killed 23 SCVs. He can back off, remax, and do that again. Because of the angle of attack here, we had 4... Cure, he had 4 tanks. One of them was on siege, to be fair. So 3 siege tanks, they just got surrounded. They got bowed down almost immediately, and now what can 1 tank do in the face of a maxed out Roach army?
It can try.
it can try. It's trying.
It has to try, as the Bio army is being pushed back once again. Tanks get biled down, the other tank sieges up, and immediately gets biled down as well. Looks like Cure will be able to chase us back for the time being, but every time his tank count gets reset, you know, that's resources that he has to devote to remaking his tanks, as opposed to getting a 4th base, teching up, getting literally anything else right now.
Yeah, exactly, and as the tank count gets lower, it becomes that much more difficult to defend, to hold on, and here we go, Dark. He comes in for wave number 3, this time with 0 tanks to really keep him at bay. He's just going to take his time. He gets into the mineral line, forces the SCVs off the line as well, and he's looking to collapse on this Bio army. The depots are falling, damage is being done.
And it looks like Dark will once again be chased back as, you know, a bunch of Stim Bio pushes forward, but the Biles will land. Dark wants to make sure that there is no round numero 4.
Exactly, as we do see Cure barely holding on. He gets another tank up and running behind this Dark. He's taking another base. He's taking up into an infestation pit for Hive Tech as well. And he is looking to come in for that round number 4. And I feel like this should be the final round.
It really should. Tank gets bowed down once again. Biles are just falling left and right. Cure's taking damage somewhere. A lot of his medevacs are so low. Not just in health, but in energy too. Final tank gets bowed down.
Yeah, the medevacs as well, like they're being biled by those Ravagers, which has been insane. There's just been so many biles, as you were saying, just blanketing the entire battlefield with links coming in to reinforce, despite how amazing Cure has been trading and despite him just holding on for dear life with his Marauders, with his Marines. It's a foregone conclusion at this point. Like, he's just been stuck here trying to survive for the past, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah, and he has survived. Yeah. But he's not exactly living.
Yeah, he's not living the life he should. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 2 and the series 2-0.
He will advance now to the grand finals as our first finalist of the evening.
Ooh. Yeah, GG, well played. As you mentioned, Dark will be our first finalist. Really intense series. Oh,
Dark will be our second finalist.
Oh, my apologies. It looks like the upper semifinals was a fast one.
Very fast one. Wow. They started after we did, right?
They same time.
Okay, well, still pretty fast, regardless.
God, very fast indeed. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket. The upper semifinals, Creator did take down Gumiho 2-1, advanced on to the semis. Beyond took down Classic 2-0, and Creator 2-0 in a very fast fashion. I don't know how long he's been waiting, but he has been patiently waiting for us here in the finals for a while now.
The answer is too long. As, yeah, we're getting a very classic TVZ coming out here. One that I feel like we saw a lot of in early Legacy of the Void, and then we saw a lot of it as well in mid Legacy of the Void. You know, shout out to, I believe it was the Ballistics Brawl people who just kept giving us this show match over and over again. Beyond versus Dark will be our grand finals of today's ESL Open Cup Asia.
There we go. It is going to be that ZvT. It's going to be a best of 5. So 1 series remaining in today's broadcast, and a juicy series at that. We had a lot of Zerg versus Terrans today, and I'm not complaining. It is my favorite matchup. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, shout out to Cure. He did have a good showing, a very unique showing as well. Game 1, right? How often do you see a hyper aggressive player with mass drop play left and right, and not a single planetary on like 6 bases or 5 bases? Sorry, it was crazy. Really entertaining, and hey, he almost made it work. He almost broke Dark. That was a very close game 1. Game 2 a little bit less so, but game 1 that was on a knife's edge.
Yeah, it very much was. Again, I do feel like Dark was mostly in control of game number 1, but if he slipped up even once,
yeah,
he would be dead to the sheer aggression of Cure. Dark was in control, but he really had to work for that control.
He really did. Here in game number 2, it did feel like Dark was a lot more comfortable, right, with his initial opener, just going gasless. Did lose a queen at the start, remember, but outside of losing that queen, outside of losing the Evo chamber, he was able to get into his roaches, into his comfort zone. Exactly.
He may have lost the queen, but he didn't lose the tumor. So all hope was not lost.
There you go. He kept what was important alive, and yeah, again, with that, GG, well played. We have our finals getting ready for us. Vetoes are currently underway. Dark versus Beyond is something that we saw a lot of a couple of months ago. This was back when, I want to say maybe around March, April, when Beyond was refining his 2-1-1, sorry, his 2-Rax opener. And I remember, like, Dark would face him time and time again. And there was one week, after like, I want to say 2 weeks of nothing but Beyond doing the 2-Rax before it like became mainstream. Dark was like, when are you gonna stop doing this?
I remember that.
He was like, when are you gonna stop going for this opener? And Beyond was like, oh, when I win. Because that was when he was still like working at the kinks and refining it as well. Yeah, it was great.
That was back when Dark. Yeah, that was back when Dark was like, dude, do something that I will actually have to face in a serious, in like a premier tournament. Do a normal build. Little did he know that for the next couple of months he would be facing nothing but 2-Rax.
Yep, exactly. And I love that. I think it was a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. They faced off in a KSL, and it was great because one game mid-series, Beyond didn't go for the 2-Rax on the low ground, and when Dark's Overlord scouted, he just spammed question marks. It was like, what's going on? Why aren't you going for the 2-Rax spam? What's happening? Oh god, it was beautiful.